So a slight diversion from the usual Thames Park route. We're looking downstream towards Wandsworth from Putney, and we're actually crossing by Fulham Railway Bridge. So we're now just walking from the Putney direction south of the river, having crossed the river on the railway bridge, and we're coming to Wandsworth Park. And the question a lot of people ask is, why are there so many parks in London? I believe there's over 1,000 parks and green spaces, and the answer is the way that London actually expanded. You know, from being a very crowded, compact city around the 1780s, 1810, expansion really only extended as far as a few hundred metres west of Westminster and quite a long way east because of the docks. Then came the railways, and first Brunel's lines from the west, and then Robert Stephenson's lines from the Midlands and the north. So London expanded northwards. And then as London expanded, there was another huge problem. First of all, it's called a traffic jam, or in this case a horse jam. But secondly, it was the sheer amount of manure that was being left on the streets, and that prompted the building of the world's first underground railway. And it was as the railway spread, connecting outlying villages and towns and districts, that London spread along the railway, the underground railway. And each of these small towns, districts, villages, each had their own parish, their parish church, their green, their village green, their park. And they remained to a large extent untouched. So really, as you cross from one district of London to another, you find another park, another green, another parish pump. Anyway, enough of all this tittle-tattle. We're now on our way from Wandsworth, well, from Putney towards Wandsworth. Now, I've grown up in London for about 15 years. The city seemed caught in a time warp. It was slowly emerging from wartime, dusting off the debris, filling in the bomb craters, pulling down the bombed shells of houses, offices and Dockland wharves. But nothing seemed to be happening. In about 1960s, I seemed to have blinked, and there was building everywhere, and that doesn't seem to have stopped now. I'm not too sure where this is taking me, over there somewhere. But this is a whole new quarter of London. Wandsworth, Battersea border. It's all new, all houses. Now I'm fairly well lost because diverted off the river because of the building, and typically the signs divert you off, they don't divert you back again. So I'm just going to have to wander along until I find another sign. Well, this is a nice little plaza between the suspension bridge of Albert there, Prince Albert Bridge, and Battersea Bridge there. I can't remember what used to be here really in my day, but certainly very nice what they've made of it anyway. And lots of people think this bridge is a Battersea Bridge because between this bridge and Chelsea Bridge is Battersea Park, and that really is my childhood territory. I used to love Battersea Park. I'll tell you why a little bit later. But no, Battersea Bridge comes first, and then Albert Bridge, and then Chelsea Bridge, with the Grosvenor Railway Bridge taking trains into Victoria Station somewhere along the way there. Really quite lovely, Albert Bridge. Yes, I do like Albert Bridge, probably one of my favourite crossing points on the River Thames, and this is one of my favourite parks. Thank you. Welcome to Battersea Park. One of the reasons why I like Battersea Park is over in the eastern corner used to be a fairground, a fixed permanent fairground, possibly the biggest fairground before the Curzal at Southend, and I used to love it. Now the only thing with fairgrounds is to charge money to get in, and the entranceway was heavily guarded to stop little wakes like me bunking their way in, but the exit wasn't. The exit consists of a set of turnstiles with interlocking spines, but by squeezing really into the centre of the revolving spine, a little oik like me could turn it round and squeeze through at risk of impalement and get in via the exit. So there's many happy days wandering around the fairground here. Lovely park, beautiful, lovely trees, and Chelsea Bridge at the other end. At the eastern end we have Chelsea Bridge coming into view. You pass under Chelsea Bridge and then I know it's going to get difficult because we get into the huge Battersea Power Station 9 Elms development. One of the biggest pieces of reconstruction going along in the waterside at the moment. Battersea Power Station, a listed building, being sympathetically converted into dwellings. Next to it you have what used to be the huge Wandsworth Market and 9 Elms markets. They've now all been demolished. The American Embassy is moved over from Grosvenor Square, which is now going to become a hotel, and the Northern Line extension from Kennington is going to bring people in. So this used to be a tube wasteland. There was no tube this side of the river, and now it's going to have a tube, thanks mostly to the American Embassy. Not that you could expect Mr. Ambassador to travel by tube. And now just about to pass under Chelsea Bridge, and the next bridge that you just see there along in the distance is Grosvenor Railway Bridge, which conveys traffic into Victoria Station. This is all very nice. Nice new bit before you get into the mess of 9 Elms. Nice part of the river this. Used to enjoy walking from Vauxhall Bridge to here. And so now we have the rail bridge. The rail's going into Victoria Station, which is about a mile further down there as the train flies. Just a very nice inner urban area now, and you can just see the chimneys now of Battersea Power Station, no longer belching black coal smoke. Just up there. Oh, look at all this. A run-down, dirty, coal smoke belching power station of the 50s and 60s. And now look at it, oh, this area. What a rejuvenation. What an amazing rejuvenation of an area. Just as we passed under Grosvenor Bridge, along the arches, every single arch, a restaurant, gallery, bar. This building is just so beautiful. Of course, you couldn't get through here as a kid. You had to take Wandsworth Road, which runs at the back. Of course, there's all coal jetties here, so you couldn't get through here at all. And this place, well, it might have been a beautiful Art Deco building, but I'm afraid I just remember it for belching grey, acrid yellow smoke 24 hours a day. Then of course we had the Great Smog in 1952. Apparently the top estimate for the lives lost due to that smog is 40,000 people. But of course the Great Smog in 1952 and the one I remember, which is 1958, but especially 52, brought home the need to do something about London's air. And you had the biggest, bravest piece of social legislation now copied all over the world, but revolutionary in those days to a country that was built on coal, whose value was in coal. And the Clean Air Act was introduced in 1956, and this is a coaling jetty where they used to bring the coal in. You know, sometimes I could be so proud. Sometimes as Brits we should be so proud, because that is a testament to the Clean Air Act. And when we hear today people whinge, what, we're not going to make any more diesel cars in 2030. London overnight stopped new coal outlets. Which was of course the demise of that place. Anyway, I've now got to try and find my way around the 9 Elms development, which is probably going to take me the best part of all the way to Vauxhall. So it's one of the biggest development projects since Canary Wharf. Absolutely amazing. Looking up at the, I didn't particularly want to walk around, I would rather just walk along the Thames, but if one's got to do it, one's got to do it. Just to pan along the side of this building. This is the back end of the power station. It's taken me 20 minutes to walk around. There's some interesting architecture in front. Modern take on a roundhouse. And behind that, Vauxhall Bridge. This really is my playground. Vauxhall used to be the closest bridge when I was living in London. Well, this is a dump in my day, and they seem to have successfully made it a dump today as well. Vauxhall Bridge, and this is Vauxhall Station. Still keeping to the south side. Diversion around MI6 due to something happening by the Thames there. So walking down the Albert Embankment, not particularly interesting. Stretches between Vauxhall Bridge and Lambeth Bridge. Albert Embankment south side, and the Hatmill Bank just over on the other side. And you just see Lambeth Bridge coming into view. And still a temporary diversion on the Thames path, but I'm going to go and walk on this path whether it's diverted or not. And there you can see the Houses of Parliament. Selfie of me now. There you go. So Just coming up to Lambeth Bridge. Just over there, got Lambeth Palace, home of the Archbishop of Canterbury. And I'm tossing a coin, and I think, just for a change, I'm going to cross the bridge and we're going to do the next bit to Westminster on the north side. Just for a change. As much as I like St Thomas's Hospital and the rest of the buildings along the south side, we might as well walk past the Houses of Parliament just to say we've done it. And of course it is one of the great landmarks of the Thames, so why not walk past it? The House of Parliament, Big Ben, there's Lambeth Palace over there. Wave to the older boy himself, Justin Wellesby. And now into the haven of the gardens. That takes us up to the House of Parliament. Horseferry Playground. Oh, really? We need a bigger playground in front. I think the children have a bit more honesty there than what they do in there. Buxton Memorial to commemorate the emancipation of slaves during the Abolition Act. Charles Buxton. What an evil process that must have been. What we think of ourselves as a rich country now. Remember how we got rich. Before we go past Parliament, there's Emmeline Pankhurst, leader of the suffragettes. Votes for Women, 1918. Well done, Emmeline. You got us there.